Truth will correct all errors in my mind. Truth will correct all errors in my mind. Truth will correct all errors in my mind. And I will rest in Him who is myself. Truth will correct all errors in my mind. And I will rest in Him who is myself. Truth will correct all errors in my mind. And I will rest in Him who is myself. Well, hello, I'm Miracle Willie, forgiveness teacher from the Ozarks, and we're ready for lesson 107 in A Course in Miracles. We're reading from the publication printed by Foundation for Inner Peace here on Tuesday, April the 16th of 2024. Truth will correct all errors in my mind. Think about that. If all illness is mental illness, if you could accept that, even minimally, just a little bit, give yourself a little opportunity to think that you can work with your own mind, the mechanism of decision. And once you realize that, you can let erroneous thoughts be replaced by truth, which will correct all errors, which will create a condition of health. A matter of fact, the way I like to think of today's lesson is it says, truth will correct all errors in my mind, and I will rest in Him who is myself. I like to think of it instead of and I will rest in Him who is myself, because I will rest in Him who is myself. You could think of it that way. I mean, either way works, but truth will correct all errors in my mind if I will rest in Him who is myself. Learn to rest in truth, rest in God, rest in the Holy Spirit, in your true identity, the Christ in you, so that all those error thoughts that we've had since for how long can begin to be replaced by what is natively in us anyway, our reality, truth. Truth will correct all errors in my mind. What can correct illusions but the truth? And what are errors but illusions that remain unrecognized for what they are? Where truth has entered, errors disappear. They merely vanish, leaving not a trace by which to be remembered. They are gone because without belief they have no life, and so they disappear to nothingness, returning whence they came. From dust to dust they come and go, for only truth remains. Can you imagine what a state of mind without illusions is? How it would feel? Try to remember when there was a time, perhaps a minute, maybe even less, when nothing came to interrupt your peace. When you were certain you were loved and safe, then try to picture what it would be like to have that moment be extended to the end of time and to eternity. Then let the sense of quiet that you felt be multiplied 100 times, and then be multiplied another 100 more. And now you have a hint, not more than just the faintest intimation of the state your mind will rest in when the truth has come. That's a fun meditation, to sit and try to remember times where you felt really at peace. Maybe just in a dream that you had at some point. I had a dream that I was falling, and the next moment after I hit the ground, when I just accepted it in my dream, I was a little baby in my father's arm, and I felt so loved. Well, that was one of my wonderful experiences of peace. We'll multiply that. First of all, extend it to eternity. Multiply it 100 times, and then 100 more. And now you have just the faintest intimation of what the state your mind will rest in when the truth has come. Without illusions, there could be no fear, no doubt, and no attack. When truth has come, all pain is over, for there is no room for transitory thoughts and dead ideas to linger in your mind. Truth occupies your mind completely, liberating you from all beliefs in the ephemeral. They have no place because the truth has come, and they are nowhere. They cannot be found, for truth is everywhere, forever, now. When truth has come, it does not stay a while to disappear or change to something else. It does not shift and alter in its form, nor come and go and come again. It stays exactly as it always was, to be depended on in every need, and trusted with a perfect trust in all the seeming difficulties and the doubts that the appearances the world presents engenders. They will merely blow away when truth corrects the errors in your mind. When truth has come, it harbors in its wings the gift of perfect constancy and love which does not falter in the face of pain, but looks beyond it, steadily and sure. Here is the gift of healing, for the truth needs no defense, and therefore no attack is possible. Illusions can be brought to truth to be corrected, but the truth stands far beyond illusions, and cannot be brought to them to turn them into truth. Truth does not come and go, nor shift nor change, in this appearance now and then in that, evading capture and escaping grasp. It does not hide. It stands in open light, in obvious accessibility. It is impossible that anyone could seek it truly and would not succeed. It is impossible that anyone would seek truth truly and would not succeed. Today belongs to truth. Give truth its due, and it will give you yours. You were not meant to suffer and to die. You were not meant to suffer and to die. Get this down well. You were not meant to suffer and to die. Your Father wills these dreams be gone. Let truth correct them all. We do not ask for what we do not have. We merely ask for what belongs to us, that we may recognize it as our own. Today we practice on the happy note of certainty that has been born of truth. The shaky and unsteady footsteps of illusion are not our approach today. We are certain of success, we are as certain of success as we are sure we live and hope and breathe and think. We do not doubt we walk with truth today, and count on it to enter into all the exercises that we do this day. Begin by asking Him who goes with you upon this undertaking, that He be in your awareness as you go with Him. You are not made of flesh and blood and bone, but were created by the self-same thought, which gave the gift of life to Him as well. He is your brother, and so like to you, your Father knows that you are both the same. It is yourself you ask to go with you. And how could He be absent where you are? Yourself? Truth will correct all errors in your mind, which tell you you could be apart from Him. You speak to Him today and make your pledge to let His function be fulfilled through you. To share His function is to share His joy. His confidence is with you as you say, truth will correct all errors in my mind, and I will rest in Him who is myself. It's like He's putting truth and the Holy Spirit, another name for the Holy Spirit, the Spirit of truth. Think of it that way, that you're inviting what is already there to be welcome. Truth, the Spirit of truth, the Holy Spirit. So let's read that again. Truth will correct all errors in your mind, which tell you you could be apart from Him, from truth. from the Holy Spirit, from God. You speak to him today and make your pledge to let his function be fulfilled through you. To share his function is to share his joy. His confidence is with you as you say, truth will correct all errors in my mind, and I will rest in him who is myself. Then let him lead you gently to the truth, which will envelop you and give you peace so deep and tranquil that you will return to the familiar world reluctantly. You'll be so at peace and in such joyful bliss that you'll want to not even come out of your quiet time. Is what he's saying. He said, but you'll come back reluctantly. And yet you will be glad to look again upon this world after you've come back to this world reluctantly. You will be glad to look upon this world, for you will bring with you the promise of the changes which the truth that goes with you will carry to the world. They will increase with every gift you give of 5 small minutes. And the errors that surround the world will be corrected as you let them be corrected in your mind. Do not forget your function for today. Each time you tell yourself with confidence, truth will correct all errors in my mind. You speak for all the world and him who would release the world, as he would set you free. Truth will correct all errors in my mind, and I will rest in him who is myself. Do your 5 minutes at the top of every hour as best you can. And if you can't spend 5 minutes, at least a moment pause and say, truth will correct all errors in my mind, and I will rest in him who is myself. And then rest in him. Let his truth clean your slate, inspire you, guide you, and direct you. Okay, let's go look now in our text reading, and I lost my clip. Where are we at here? We're in, let's see, we are on chapter 13, the introduction of chapter 13. It's the guiltless world. The introduction starts off, if you did not feel guilty, you could not attack, for condemnation is the root of attack. But before we read any more, let's look at what's going on around the world. From holidays and observances, it's the day of the mushroom. And so one mushroom I'd like you to consider is the shiitake mushroom. You can grow them on oak logs here in the Ozarks. It's the Latinula elotus. I think that's how you pronounce it. No, it's eclotus. No, edodes. Edotus maybe, or edodes. I'm not sure for the species how to pronounce it. Anyway, consider shiitake mushroom. There are lots of mushrooms that are good for our health, and we need to be learning about them. Emancipation Day in 1862, I like to think that as we're practicing Course in Miracles, we're emancipating ourselves from the ego's rule. Foursquare Day, which is a geolocation app. National Bean Counter Day for all you accountants. You did a good job getting everybody ready, taxes ready. National Egg Benedict Day. National Health Care Decision Day. National Librarian Day. National Orchid Day. National Stress Awareness, or you might think of it as just Day of Peace. That's what Course in Miracles is all about. And I found a really great video I'd like you all to listen to. It really is a demonstrative video on what we're trying to aspire to in A Course in Miracles. And it's Anita Morjani's story interviewed by Alex Ferrari. And I'll put the link. I didn't put the title of it down, but I'll put the title in the link below. And I'll put a link to get to it too. It's about an hour long, so give yourself plenty of time to watch it. National Wear Your Pajamas to Work Day. Save the Elephant Day. 3 surviving elephants. They're all the Loxodonta. Is that the Loxodonta species? And there's the largest or heaviest living animal, land animal. And there's the African bush, which is the Loxodonta africana. Then there's the African forest elephant, which is the Loxodonta cyclotis. And then there's the Asian elephant, which is the Loxodonta maximus. So just a little bit about elephants, since it's Save the Elephant Day. Teach your daughter to volunteer day. You got to teach your son too, but teach your daughter. World Semicolon Day and World Voice Day. As we learned yesterday, we want to use our voice to give what we receive. And in edible landscaping, we've got another Asian persimmon, a Diospirus khaki, and that word dios means fire, or pyros, and or God, excuse me, divine flame maybe. Anyway, I said that wrong. Dios means divine, and pyros means fruit. I get this right in a minute. So it's the divine fruit. Anyway, so that's your Diospirus. That word means divine fruit, and that's the genus, the species is khaki. And the one we're going to look at today is the Saijo Asian persimmon. Saijo is an orange conic-shaped fruit. The skin of the fruit has no cracks. The fruit is usually seedless, and the tree has an annual bearing tendency. Ripe when soft with an elegant flavor, Saijo matures its fruits in November at the nursery. Vigorous, upright, and spreading, the 15 to 20 foot tree doesn't need a pollinator. Fruits are usually seedless. It is popular in Japan to dry the fruits under the eaves of roofs. Its name is synonymous with Mr. Elegant, or the very best one. That's what it means. Space 12-foot circles, zone 6 through 8. Okay, thank you, Edible Landscaping. And then in Permaculture for Beginners by Carrie Mitchell, the concluding paragraph in chapter 6 is Permaculture for Beginners that concluding paragraph speaks about putting a lot of thought in water infrastructure on your plot to keep plants hydrated. Consider catching, distributing water, minimizing wasted water, and also minimizing evaporation. And all those things are at the core of permaculture. And when we're talking about shiitake mushrooms, I found this on WebMD. Shiitakes are rich in the anti-inflammatory and polysaccharides like lentinins and other beta-glucans. These compounds protect against cell damage, help your immune system, and boost white blood cell production by fighting off microbes. It's a very healing mushroom, your shiitake. So I just wanted to let you all be aware of its benefits. A dual approach to health, where we're working with the mind, which also means that we're working with what we do with the mind. What we choose to eat, how we choose to live. Let truth correct all errors in my mind, and I will rest in Him who is myself. Okay, in chapter 13, The Guiltless World, Introduction. If you did not feel guilty, you could not attack. For condemnation is the root of attack. It is the judgment of one mind by another as unworthy of love and deserving of punishment. But herein lies the split. For the mind that judges perceives itself as separate from the mind being judged, believing that by punishing another it will escape punishment. All this is but the delusional attempt of the mind to deny itself. and escape the penalty of denial. It is not an attempt to relinquish denial, but to hold on to it. For it is guilt that has obscured the Father to you, and it is guilt that has driven you insane. Guilt. To see guilt in others will drive you mad, insane. Or seeing guilt in yourself will do the same thing. We need to remove guilt, like my teacher Charlie said. It's not useful at all. Paragraph 2. The acceptance of guilt into the mind of God's Son was the beginning of the separation, as the acceptance of the atonement is its end. The world you see is the delusional system of those made mad by guilt. Look carefully at this world, and you will realize that this is so. For this world is the symbol of punishment, and all the laws that seem to govern it are the laws of death. Children are born into it through pain and in pain. Their growth is attended by suffering, and they learn of sorrow and separation and death. Their minds seem to be trapped in their brain, and its powers to decline if their bodies are hurt. They seem to love, yet they desert and are deserted. They appear to lose what they love, perhaps the most insane belief of all. Wow, catch that. The most insane belief of all is they appear to lose what they love. Lose what you love? You love something, you don't want to lose it, do you? You can't lose it. That's what he said that the idea that you can lose it is an insane thought. He's saying maybe the most insane thought of them all. They seem to love, actually let's back up. Their minds seem to be trapped in their brain and its power to decline if their bodies are hurt. They seem to love, yet they desert and are deserted. They appear to lose what they love, perhaps the most insane belief of all. And their bodies wither and gasp and are laid in the ground and are no more. Not one of them but has thought that God is cruel. Paragraph 3. If this were the real world, God would be cruel. For no father could subject his children to this as the price of salvation and be loving. Love does not kill to save. If it did, attack would be salvation. And this is the ego's interpretation, not God's. Only the world of guilt could demand this, for only the guilty could conceive of it. Adam's, end quote, sin could not have touched, Adam's, end quote, sin could not have touched, Adam's sin could have touched no one had he not believed it was the Father who drove him out of paradise. Now catch this. Only the world, and let's back up. If this were the real world, God would be cruel. For no father could subject his children to this as the price of salvation and be loving. Love does not kill to save. If it did, attack would be salvation. And this is the ego's interpretation, not God's. Only the world of guilt could demand this, for only the guilty could conceive of it. Adam's sin could have touched no one had he not believed it was the Father who drove him out of paradise. For in that belief, the knowledge of the Father was lost, since only those who do not understand him could believe it, that God would drive his beloved Son out of paradise. This world is a picture of the crucifixion of God's Son. And until you realize that God's Son cannot be crucified, this is the world you will see. Yet you will not realize this until you accept the eternal fact that God's Son is not guilty. The eternal fact that no matter what you do or what anyone does, God's Son is not guilty, and we're all God's Son. He deserves only love because he has given only love. He cannot be condemned because he has never condemned. The atonement is the final lesson he need learn, for it teaches him that never having sinned, he has no need of salvation. The final lesson that we're already saved, and we just needed to let truth correct all errors in our mind. And as we rest in Him who is our self, truth will be corrected in our mind. So do your hourly remembrance and try to take 5 minutes at the top of every hour. Today belongs to truth. Give truth its due, and it will give you yours. You are not meant to suffer and to die. Your Father wills these dreams be gone. Let truth correct them all. Begin by asking Him who goes with you upon this undertaking that He be in your awareness as you go with Him. Let the Spirit of truth be in your awareness. Truth will correct all errors in your mind which tell you you could be apart from Him. You speak to Him today and make your pledge to let His function be fulfilled through you. To share His function is to share His joy. His confidence is with you as you say, truth will correct all errors in my mind, and I will rest in Him who is myself. Then let Him lead you gently to the truth which will envelop you and give you peace so deep and tranquil you will return to the familiar world reluctantly. And yet you will be glad to look again upon the world, for you will bring with you the promise of the changes which the truth that goes with you will carry to the world. They will increase with every gift you give of 5 small minutes. And the errors that surround the world will be corrected as you let them be corrected in your mind. Do not forget your function for today. Each time you tell yourself with confidence, truth will correct all errors in my mind. You speak for all the world and Him who would release the world as He would set you free. Okay. Truth will correct all errors in my mind, and I will rest in Him who is myself. Truth will correct all errors in my mind, and I will rest in Him who is myself. Truth will correct all errors in my mind, and I will rest in Him who is myself. Truth will correct all errors in my mind, and I will rest in Him who is myself. Truth will correct all errors in my mind. Truth will correct all errors in my mind, and I will rest in Him who is myself. Truth will correct all errors in my mind. Truth will correct all errors in my mind. Truth will correct all errors in my mind as I rest in Him who is myself. And our word for peace is omaluhia. That's Hawaiian. Omaluhia for peace. Omaluhia. Truth will correct all errors in my mind, and I will rest in Him who is myself. Omaluhia.